250 Somali pirates swarm a U.S. Navy tanker at 3:30 a.m. The shocking battle unfolds September 16, 2025. 3:30 a.m. In the dark waters off Somalia's coast, 30 small boats race through the waves, their engines roaring at full throttle. On board were more than 250 Somali pirates, armed with RPG-7 launchers, AK-47 rifles, and DSHK heavy machine guns bolted to their hulls. Their target was the USNS Bighorn, a U.S. Navy tanker quietly carrying over 8 million gallons of jet fuel to a nearby aircraft carrier strike group. From the radar room of the USS Mason, 120 nautical miles northeast of Bosaso, the first signs appeared. Blips, dozens of them. At first, the watch officers thought it was a fishing fleet, but within minutes the truth was clear. 30 fast-moving vessels converging from multiple directions. Captain James Rowe leaned over the glowing radar screen. "That's no convoy," he said. "That's a swarm." On the bridge of the Bighorn, alarm bells blared. Red lights flashed across the control room as the crew scrambled to defensive positions. Over the radio, a panicked voice cut through the static. "This is Bighorn. We've got multiple fast craft closing in, possibly hostile." The tension was immediate. If even one rocket hit the tanker's fuel tanks, the explosion could rival a small nuclear blast, enough to destroy everything within miles. By 3:33 a.m., the pirates had cut their navigation lights and split into two assault waves. Each boat carried 10 men, all armed, all ready to fight. The attack had begun, but this time, they weren't chasing a ransom. They were picking a fight with the United States Navy. All right, quick pause. If you're following this story and want to see how the U.S. military responds when cornered at sea, tap that subscribe button now. The next part will show why this became one of the most brutal sea battles of the decade. 3:36 a.m. The first rocket streaked through the sky. The Battle of the Gulf of Aden had begun. 3:40 a.m. The first wave hit. From the deck of the USNS Bighorn, sailors watched streaks of light rip through the night sky. RPGs, tracer fire, and bursts from heavy machine guns rained down from every direction. The first rocket slammed into the ship's rear superstructure, punching a hole through thick steel and setting off a shower of sparks. A second rocket followed, striking near the deck cranes, igniting a small fire that threatened to spread toward the fuel tanks. Inside the control room, alarms screamed. Damage control teams rushed to contain the flames. Every second mattered. 8 million gallons of JP-5 jet fuel sat below deck. A single explosion could erase the ship and everyone aboard. From the USS Mason, Captain James Rowe gave the order. All batteries, open fire. The destroyer's 25mm Bushmaster cannons came alive. Streams of red tracers tore across the waves, cutting through the swarm. The sea erupted with explosions. 2 pirate skiffs vanished instantly under the barrage, their engines torn apart. Another boat flipped sideways, consumed by flames as its fuel tanks detonated. But the pirates didn't retreat. They regrouped and came again, wave after wave, spraying the decks with AK-47 fire and PKM machine guns. Each time, the Americans responded with precision. The Mason's CIWS phalanx system spun to life, its 6-barrel cannon firing nearly 4,500 rounds in the first 5 minutes. The noise was deafening, a metallic growl echoing across the sea. By 4:10 a.m., the ocean itself seemed to burn. Smoke, fire, and shattered debris floated across the black water. 9 pirate boats had been destroyed, but 21 remained, closing in fast. On board the Bighorn, the crew fought back with .50 caliber deck guns, firing non-stop. Bullets ripped through wooden hulls, sending splinters and screams into the air. Still, the pirates pressed forward, hoping to board the tanker and seize hostages. It never happened. A direct hit from the Mason's main gun split one of the lead boats in half, scattering debris and men across the waves. Another explosion followed, blasting 2 more skiffs into fragments. Outnumbered nearly 10-1, the Americans held their line, but the attack was far from over. The pirates were regrouping, and the next wave would be even larger. 4:20 a.m. The sea was chaos. Explosions flashed like lightning across the horizon. The smell of burning fuel filled the air. From the bridge of the USS Mason, Captain James Rowe watched the swarm tighten its circle around the Bighorn. If even one RPG struck the fuel tanks, the blast would be catastrophic. 30,000 pounds of TNT in one instant, enough to light the Gulf of Aden for miles. Over the radio, the command came through from headquarters. All vessels, maintain position. Protect the tanker at all costs. As the pirates charged again, the Americans unleashed a storm. The destroyer USS Cape St. George, just 5 nautical miles south, entered the battle at full speed. Her phalanx guns roared to life, firing another 4,000 rounds in the first 10 minutes. The tracers lit up the night like 1,000 red comets. One pirate boat tried to ram the tanker's hull. It never made it. A .50 caliber burst ripped through its bow, splitting it in two. Another boat tried to flank from the east. A single 5-inch shell from Cape St. George erased it from the water completely. But the pirates were relentless. More than 20 skiffs still advanced, zigzagging to avoid fire, using burning wreckage as cover. From their decks, gunmen shouted in Somali and Arabic, firing wildly into the air. One RPG soared over the Mason's bridge, exploding in the water with a thunderous shockwave that rocked the ship. Glass shattered. 4 sailors were thrown to the deck, bleeding but alive. Another explosion tore through the forward gun deck, injuring 2 more crewmen. Still, the Americans didn't yield. Damaged, outnumbered, and surrounded, they fought on. By 5 a.m., the battle had raged for over 90 minutes. The water was thick with smoke and debris. 70 pirates were confirmed dead or missing. 9 American sailors were wounded, 2 critically. Yet the Bighorn stayed afloat, its massive fuel load intact. But intelligence soon revealed a terrifying truth. This wasn't a random ambush. It was a coordinated strike, planned, supplied, and commanded by a Somali warlord whose reach extended far beyond the sea. And the next phase of the fight would move to land. 5:15 a.m., the smoke of battle still hung low over the Gulf of Aden, but the radar showed more contacts approaching the Somali coastline. The USS Mason and Cape St. George had won the sea, but the source of the attack remained untouched, a fortress hidden deep along the Somali shore. At Camp Lemonnier in Djibouti, 800 miles away, alarms blared. Within minutes, U.S. Africa Command issued the order: deploy Reaper drones, prepare SEAL teams, strike the source. Satellite feeds confirmed it. Along the coast near Barawa, intelligence spotted a fortified compound, rows of warehouses, armed guards, and a hidden harbor filled with more small boats. The data matched the patterns of one man. Khalid Qadar Abdul Rahman, a feared Somali warlord and the architect behind the pirate empire. His network stretched across Yemen, Iran, and the Horn of Africa. He wasn't hunting ransom money, he was building a private navy. By 7:40 a.m., 3 CH-47 Chinook helicopters thundered across the shoreline, each carrying over 100 Navy SEALs armed with night optics, explosives, and suppressed carbines. Above them, 3 AH-64E Apache gunships provided cover, their 30mm cannons loaded with 1,200 rounds each. From the sea, the USS Mason aligned her guns toward the coastline. Her 5-inch Mark 45 cannon fired a single round, striking a fuel depot at the compound's edge. The explosion was enormous. 40,000 gallons of diesel ignited instantly, sending a fireball 100 feet into the air. The shock wave shook the coastline. Within seconds, the SEALs were on the ground. They breached the compound's outer walls using C4 charges and smoke cover. Inside, they found crates stacked high, Chinese-made rifles, Iranian mortars, and Russian RPGs, evidence of an international arms supply chain feeding the pirates. In one of the warehouses, 6 hostages were discovered, chained and beaten, 2 of them American merchant sailors taken from earlier hijackings. The SEALs freed them and moved deeper into the facility. A pirate technical truck mounted with a DSHK opened fire, spraying 600 rounds a minute. The Apaches responded instantly. A single Hellfire missile struck the truck, vaporizing it. By 8:40 a.m., the raid was complete. 90 pirates killed, 60 captured, 15 tons of weapons destroyed. The compound burned, smoke curling into the morning sky. But as the SEALs lifted off, one question echoed through the command channel. If Qadar had this much power, Who was supplying him next? 4:30 p.m. The battle was over. The sea, once alive with fire and smoke, now lay silent beneath the setting sun. Charred wreckage floated, twisted hulls, shattered rifles, and lifeless bodies drifting with the tide. For the United States Navy, it was a victory written in the steel and blood. The numbers told the story. 250 pirates had joined the assault. More than 180 were dead. 70 were wounded or captured. The rest scattered along the Somali coast, their empire in ruins. The USNS Bighorn was scarred but still afloat. Its 8 million gallons of jet fuel, enough to power an entire carrier group, remained untouched. 9 American sailors were injured, 2 seriously, but every single crew member survived. On land, the raid had delivered a crushing blow. 12 pirate warehouses destroyed, 15 tons of weapons seized, 2 million rounds of ammunition, and 40,000 gallons of fuel reduced to ash. The fortress of Khalid Qadar Abdulrahman was gone. His militia scattered, his funding cut off. But intelligence from the compound revealed something far more disturbing. Buried among the wreckage were banking records, more than $50 million in offshore transactions, linking the Somali network to arms dealers in Yemen, Iran, and the Horn of Africa. This wasn't piracy, it was proxy warfare. Someone had been funding a private army to disrupt one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. For decades, Somali pirates were dismissed as fishermen, but this battle changed everything. It proved they had evolved from ragtag raiders to militarized mercenaries with foreign backers and global ambitions. In Washington, the images told their own story. Boats ablaze, captured fighters kneeling on the sand, hostages freed, and warehouses burning to the ground. The message was unmistakable: attack an American ship. And the response won't stop at sea. It will follow you to your doorstep and erase your empire piece by piece. As the sun set over the Indian Ocean, smoke from the raid still drifted across the horizon. The echoes of September 16, 2025 would not fade quickly. Because that night, exactly 250 men tried to strike the United States. And in one brutal morning, the ocean itself became their grave. If you found this story powerful, subscribe and share. The next battle might already be unfolding, and you'll want to be here when it does.